This is what they need.
Turn it up, cut the noise. This is Data and Dissonance, and I'm Artie. New format, same mission. 5 minutes, no panel, no 27 side roads, no 3-hour cable news circus dressed up like analysis. Just one topic, one rant, and one question America needs to ask before the next outrage machine starts screaming in our faces. And today's question is simple. Can we still win clean? Because I'm going to tell you something that might irritate both sides of the aisle, which usually means it's probably worth saying. I'm a Trump supporter. I've made no secret about that. I believe this country needed a course correction. I believe the border needed to be handled. I believe the bureaucracy needed to be challenged. I believe the media lied for years, protected their favorites, buried stories they didn't like, and then acted shocked when half the country stopped trusting them. But here's the thing. If we're going to call out corruption, weaponization, double standards, backroom deals, and political revenge dressed up as justice, then we better not start defending anything that even smells like the same garbage just because it comes from our side. That's how movements die. Not from one bad headline, not from one ugly vote. They die when people stop caring about principles and start acting like politics is just football with worse uniforms. Today, there's a story out there about this proposed $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund connected to a settlement involving Trump, the Justice Department, and the IRS. Reuters reported that the fund has been put on hold after fierce pushback, including from Republicans in Congress, partly because of concerns over who could receive payouts and how bad the optics looked. Now listen carefully, because this is where people love to twist things. Do I believe government weaponization happened? Yes, absolutely. And I think there were years where federal power, media power, intelligence leaks, selective investigations, and institutional arrogance were aimed in one political direction way more than the other. I think a lot of regular Americans looked at that and said, so the rules are real when they apply to me, but optional when they apply to them? That anger is real. That distrust is earned. But if the answer to weaponization is creating a giant taxpayer-backed political payout system that even Republicans are nervous about, then somebody needs to tap the brakes before we drive the truck through the front window and call it justice. Because regular people don't get that kind of deal. The mechanic in Pueblo doesn't get $1 billion fund when the IRS screws him. The single mom in Ohio doesn't get a special commission when the government makes her life harder. The veteran waiting on paperwork doesn't get a headline, a settlement, and a political parade. So when people see Washington arguing over massive funds, special protections, lawsuit settlements, and who gets compensated for being politically targeted, they don't just see justice. They see the same club wearing a different hat. And that is dangerous, because the conservative message should not be, our insiders deserve better treatment than your insiders. The conservative message should be, no insiders, same rules, equal justice, period. That is the whole damn point. And this is where I think Republicans better wake up. You can't campaign on draining the swamp and then act surprised when voters get suspicious of anything that looks like swamp water with a red label on it. You can't say the system is rigged and then build something that looks rigged in the other direction. You can't spend years telling Americans they're using government against you and then turn around and ask people to trust a government-created fund with political fingerprints all over it. That doesn't mean every accusation is true. That doesn't mean Trump is wrong on the larger issue of weaponization. But it does mean the optics matter. And I know people hate that word. Optics. It sounds like something a consultant says while sipping a $14 coffee and losing winnable elections. But optics matter because trust matters. And trust is already on life support in this country. The media doesn't have it. Congress doesn't have it. The intelligence agencies don't have it. Big tech sure as hell doesn't have it. And half the country thinks the courts are either political shields or political swords, depending on who's standing in front of the judge. So when something like this comes up, the answer cannot be, shut up, our side deserves it. No, the answer should be, show the receipts, show the rules, show the oversight, show who qualifies, show who doesn't, and if it stinks, kill it. That's not weakness. That's discipline. That's how you keep the moral high ground instead of renting it for campaign season. And honestly, this is the kind of thing Democrats should understand too, but they won't, because they're too busy pretending they suddenly care about abuse of power after spending years cheering every investigation, leak, raid, indictment, and bureaucratic chokehold as long as it landed on the right target. That's the hypocrisy. But our hypocrisy doesn't get canceled out by theirs. It just adds another layer of rot. And I'm tired of rot, and I'm tired of being told to pick between two versions of corruption. I'm tired of watching Washington light the house on fire and then argue over who gets to sell the smoke detectors. I want accountability, real accountability, and not revenge, not payouts, not special carve-outs, not legal tricks, not My guy gets a pass because your guy got one first. That's how children argue. That's how broken countries operate. And America is supposed to be better than that. So here's the rant in plain English. If people were targeted by the government, expose it. If laws were broken, prosecute it. If agencies abused power, reform them. If bureaucrats lied, fire them. If politicians used federal authority as a weapon, drag it into the sunlight and make the whole country look at it. But don't replace one machine with another machine and tell me it's freedom because my team built it. That's not liberty. That's just revenge wearing a flag pin. And I don't want revenge. I want a country where the rules are the rules, the truth is the truth, and power is afraid of the people again, not the other way around. That's the show. 5 minutes. One rant, same mission. Speak truth, stir thought. This is Data and Dissonance. And turn it down now if you want. But the static is still on the wire.
Behind the screen, everybody's shouting loud, but nobody says what they mean.